Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman, bringing you a weather update without all that social media hype here on your Thursday, September the 5th, 2024. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at those latest weather headlines, shall we? As we're looking at a southern deluge along the Gulf Coast and getting into some areas of Georgia, Alabama that could use the rainfall. We'll be showing you that here in just a little bit. We'll talk about a roller coaster ride in temperatures. Though we're going to get a nice cool down in the east, it's not going to last long. Temperatures will rebound. We'll show you that on the extended outlook here in just a second. And then we'll talk about what's wrong in the tropics. I got disturbances all over the place, but I don't see any imminent tropical development as far as the next several days are concerned. We'll talk about that in greater detail as well. Now, before we get into all this, I first want to thank all the new subscribers to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. Always give me that thumbs up if you appreciate the product and leave me a comment down below. Surely does help with the YouTube algorithm as we try to grow this product for you guys. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at your latest satellite imagery out here for this morning. A lot of clouds here across the south. You can clearly see where the thunderstorms are. In fact, National Hurricane Center just added this as an area of disturbed weather here for today, although I think this is going to slide in across the Gulf Coast. I'm not overly concerned about that right now. Got a frontal system out here across the high plains that set off a few thunderstorms there yesterday. Going to watch that area off the east coast as well. It's another area of disturbed weather as well out there, and still pretty dry and quiet out here on the west coast here on your Thursday. Looking at the surface map, again, we're going to be watching the precipitation that'll be spreading here along the Gulf Coast. This is the area that they're expecting the heavy rains in. Here's that reinforcing shot of cold air. Look at these temperatures here across the board, into 30s up across Canada. This will be sweeping in across the Midwest, New England, and even into the Southeast as we go into this upcoming weekend. And it'll be definitely an early taste of fall, to say the least, and things will be heating up out here in the West. All right, let's look at our current watches and warnings map here. Again, quiet here. We do have some flash flood watches here along the Gulf Coast, obviously, with all that rain there in the Gulf. Some heat advisories out here in the West, poor air quality in that gray zones. And these are red flag warnings out here. So the heat is going to be hot out here in the West, but most of the country not looking too bad here on your Thursday. Now, as we look at the Gulf Coast states, again, we got some rains down there in New Orleans. Very wet and rainy here in Louisiana. Even some rains getting over toward Gulfport for this morning and heading up toward Baton Rouge. But the heaviest activity is just out into the Gulf of Mexico, and this will be traversing along into Louisiana and Mississippi. It's kind of a response to that reinforcing shot of cold air. That trough's going to pick this stuff up and swing it on out of here as we head through the next couple days. And by the weekend, should be cleared on out, at least briefly. Now, looking at our weather city of the day is Richmond, Kentucky. A beautiful sky cam here for Richmond, Kentucky, where they're looking at temperatures this morning in the 50s. But it'll warm up nicely. A lot of sunshine. It's a dry day, but high temperature right around 86 degrees. And if you would like to see your city to be considered as the weather city of the day, and you know of a good webcam, go ahead and copy that link. Go ahead and put it in the chat down below. It could be from YouTube or some other source, and we'll potentially use it for a future broadcast. All right, it's time to take a look at the Storms Prediction Center the next 3 days, and let's take a look and see what they're expecting there as far as thunderstorm activity. And a little bit less today. I mean, general coverage, we got really a lot to talk as far as the big area is concerned. But big part of the country looking at general chance for thunderstorms, but only just a small little area there showing a chance for marginal severe weather. That's basically a little green dot there across New Mexico. So really not looking too bad. Again, just strong gusty winds will be the main concern there for you for that day one outlook. Going out for your day two, let's go ahead and take a look at your day two outlook here. Again, we're going to slide a front off toward the east, and it looks like we'll see another round of marginal severe weather going into parts of Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, maybe a little slither there of heading into Pennsylvania as we go into your day two outlook. So this is for your Friday as that frontal system begins to move off toward the east there. So not too big of a deal there. And as we go look at your day three outlook, again, we'll start seeing that general thunderstorm risk switching all the way to the Gulf Coast, because all the way to the East Coast, I should say, because we've got that nice little cold front moving through there. So as that front begins to kind of slide on through, we'll see some storms there. A little pocket of some storms out here toward the west, but at least no organized severe weather expected as we go into your Saturday. So not looking too bad. The weekend's looking great, I think, for a big portion of the country. Very nice indeed. All right, so let's go ahead and recap once again here for today. We're talking about Santa Fe, New Mexico, Las Vegas, New Mexico, not going into Nevada. We're talking about New Mexico. And those areas across the central portion of the northern portion of New Mexico will need to watch for the potential for some severe thunderstorms and gusty winds. They'll be isolated, not too big a deal for later this afternoon. All right, let's talk about the tropics. I've got boxes all over the place. And then when the National Hurricane Center added that fifth area there off the Texas Gulf Coast, it's like, you know what, I'm not adding another box here, okay? All of these are relatively low. They're not that impressive right now. Thunderstorms have been poor quality. The one I think that's probably most likely developed as far as the short term is probably going to be the one there off the East Coast, okay? That's the one that we're going to watch, I think, off the Carolina coast that has the potential to form. It's just a question if it's going to be a hybrid or it's going to be an actual tropical system, but that's the one I think is going to be our next named storm, which, of course, is in Francine. Now, a lot of the weather experts are revising their predictions way down now. As I think Colorado State reduced it down to 17 named storms now, not going with as high as 25. So it's really bringing down that number quite a bit. 13 to 17, I think, is the number they're looking at right now. It's not been a very active season for that. As you look at what's going on out in the tropics, we do have, again, just a few waves out there. Obviously, you've got one wave out here. You've got this one out here in the Caribbean. We're kind of watching there. You got that disturbance there in the Gulf of Mexico to watch. But a general lack of thunderstorms across the Atlantic. And the reason for that is the global weather pattern right now. Okay, so you see this for comparison. This is the Atlantic. We're not seeing a whole lot of thunderstorm out there. And the reason why is the global pattern. We've got sinking air in the Atlantic. That means the air cannot rise. You can't get thunderstorms to come up. Now, for comparison, let's look at the Western Pacific. I mean, we're talking, boom, we're talking quite a bit of thunderstorm activity out here. Different story. We got Typhoon Yagi out there. That's a Category 4 system out there on the Saffir-Simpson Stare. They're just off south of the China coast there. But look at all the thunderstorms you got out in this general area. You got a lot of thunderstorms out there. So you've got rising air out here in the Western Pacific. Now, it's forecasted over the next 10 days that may flip. Okay, so as we head towards, say, the 15th, after the 15th of the month, things may start to improve in the Atlantic. And if that happens, then all these little weak disturbances we have all over the place may get a chance to possibly develop it. But for right now, I'll be watching the area off the East Coast, although that looks like that'll head away. And the area there in the Bay of Campeche, that's the area that I'll be watching for potential development. Now, looking at the eSense ensemble model, again, we can kind of step you through this and show you what's going on with this with these systems. We got them a bunch of them going all over the place here. And in fact, let me go to my interactive mode so I can go ahead and step you through this here real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and freeze this back, and we'll take this back here a little bit. Sorry about that. Let's bring this back here. So again, watching all those disturbances, they're all over the place. So I'm going to step this back here through. Again, the two areas that I'm going to be watching very, very closely is going to be this area, this one out here. That's the one I think is going to develop first. And then, of course, we got the one we got to watch out there in the Gulf of Mexico. And then you got this other one here down here. So watch that timestamp there in your upper right-hand corner. Let me clear that out. As we'll watch that system quickly pull away. That one, I think, may have our best chance of becoming Francine. But none of these out here show any signs of becoming anything organized as far as like a hurricane or something. Maybe you get a tropical storm out here for this area disturbed weather out here in the western portion of the Gulf of Mexico. But that's about it. And again, watching these disturbances coming off the coast of Africa, they continue to come in off the coast higher latitude than you typically will see. And as a result of this, even if they do develop out in the Atlantic, they're probably going to get pulled out into the middle as the westerlies will catch up with that and basically curve it away from the United States. So looking at the latest ensemble model, don't see anything out there that really catches my eye as far as worrying about potential development here in the short term, going into this upcoming weekend. So weekend's not looking too bad there. The other thing I want to point out here, again, this here is a snapshot of the model data from Africa, okay? I've got this up for a reason, and I want you to see this. This is the below normal precipitation in this zone. You notice it's higher up here toward the north. That's because the intertropical convergence zone is a little bit further north than where it should be. So it's displaced a little bit further north, and as a result, the waves that are coming off the coast are coming off the coast higher latitude. Okay, so the waters are a little bit cooler there, a little bit further north than where they are if they typically come out further south. So that is concerned. And this is very, very unusual to see rain here. This is to get into the Mojave Desert, man. We're talking the Sahara Desert here, or the Mojave, Sahara Desert. We're talking unusual to see rain in that part of Africa fall this time of year. And they're going to be getting rains in areas that don't see it. I mean, in some cases, they're going to be getting like a year's worth of rainfall in just a few days. So very unusual to see that there in Africa. So let's go ahead and take a look at, again, we'll look at the model data here across the tropics here as we're looking at the overnight model run here. There's that spin up again. This is the one I think will become Francine. This will be Francine right here, but it's going to stay off the coast as we go through the next couple of days and should go up in Canada. So not a big deal with that one right there. So again, watch that timestamp. That energy that's in the Gulf looks like it rides along the Gulf and kind of kicks out off the eastern seaboard there. So that disturbance down there in the Gulf is going to go this way and shouldn't be a problem. They're going to watch whatever happens to this tropical wave here as it sits down the Bay of Campeche for a little while. Excuse me, as we go ahead and go forward with this. So watch this. That clears on out. We got a pretty good trough here coming off the eastern seaboard here, obviously. That's going to kick down on out anyway. So that's what's going to happen there. But as I go through this, again, nothing imminent. We don't see anything of any significance from any of these developments. Now, what I do see is an old trough, and these what sometimes happens is you'll get a trough that'll kind of just sit off the eastern seaboard there for a little while, and then boom, we get something developed there on the tail end of this run going into the following Friday. So we get an old trough, we get a tail end Charlie, get something that develops there off the eastern seaboard, off an old frontal boundary, which is not that unusual. But as far as the tropical waves are concerned out here, there's nothing out here that shows any kind of development. Again, continue to stay quiet here for the next 10 days going through the 15th. Again, right now, we're thinking the change will take place after the 15th, and at that time, that's when the switch will still go up. They're still thinking we'll get really busy, but we got to get the global pattern there to flip. So where the Western Pacific will calm down and the Atlantic will start to kick back up. So that's what it looks like right there as we go into the next 10 days for the tropics. Let's look at the pattern as far as the jet stream is concerned here across the United States. And the one thing you're going to notice here for sure is going into this upcoming weekend is we got a nice little trough here. We're going to get some cool air kind of coming in and out of Canada here. We're going to have some ridging out here in the west. So it's going to be hot and steamy out here in the west. Sorry about that, folks. And we're going to have it nice and cool there in the east as we go into this upcoming weekend. But that trough will lift on out. It's going to lift on out here through New England through Monday. You'll stay kind of coolish there for the Midwest and areas there into New England. And then we'll see most of the country begin to warm up. So as we go into the middle of next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, these temperatures that have been on the cool side, especially in the east, will begin to warm up and will return to more seasonable or even above normal temperatures for a big part of the country. You have a little weak system kind of kicking in here as we go to the end of the week, going into Thursday and Friday. That's this little disturbance here. May set up some storms there into Nebraska on the tail end of this model run. But otherwise, looking pretty quiet there for most of the country. Not unusual. Again, this is we haven't really got into the real fall season yet. So seeing that going in right through September, that's what we're seeing right now. So temperature should modify, no big storm systems, and we're still waiting to see if the tropics kick in sometime after the 15th. So let's go ahead and switch on over here to the precipitation mode here. As we look at the continental United States, again, we'll be watching that areas of rain along the Gulf Coast here as we go in throughout the day on your Friday. Again, it'll be kind of wet and rainy here across the Gulf Coast. Some pretty good heavy rains expected in here. Here comes our trough right here. Some nice cold air coming down here across the Great Lakes coming into New England as we go into this upcoming weekend. So I know some folks will be enjoying that. Yours truly will definitely be enjoying that for this upcoming weekend. That heavy rain will move off the eastern seaboard there, and it starts to clear off. And look at Sunday, other than that lingering pesky low there across areas of the Northeast, may linger some clouds and stuff up that way. From coast to coast, it's a very, very quiet, looking very nice indeed for most of the country, although it is going to be pretty hot out here, obviously, with a little bit of high pressure ridge out here in the west. It's going to be kind of steamy going into this weekend and hot. So I wish I had better news for you folks out in the west. Again, watching this thing out, we still got that stationary boundary, so things are going to stay wet across Florida and the Gulf Coast. That stationary front not going anywhere. I think what the Europeans catching on here is whatever's left of that disturbance that kind of moves into the Bay of Campeche. Looks like it kind of moves up here along the Texas Gulf Coast as we go into next week, going into toward Tuesday on that one. And then eventually it gets kicked up in the westerlies, and it kicks up along the Gulf Coast, and then spins on out. That energy spins on out into the Atlantic. So looks like that'll continue the rain threat along the Gulf Coast, and then it kind of moves on away. But again, this is that disturbance coming out of the Rockies that may set up some storms heading into the following Saturday, going into the 15th. But again, no big major storm systems. It's wet and unsettled on the Gulf Coast. Florida looks like they're going to continue with above normal precipitation in those areas there as we go into the next 10 days as well. Well, in fact, let's go ahead and talk about the southeast. Let's look at the fact that we're going to be looking at a lot of rainfall. Again, we're looking at the European model here as we go through this weekend. Again, look at these rainfall amounts there in Louisiana. We're talking upwards of 3 to 5 inches. Some very heavy rains there and getting in off the Gulf Coast. So we'll take this right in through. We'll take this right into Sunday as that kind of pulls away there. So we're looking at some very, very heavy rains here across the southeast and along the areas from South Carolina over into Louisiana. So some very heavy rains there. And it looks like that'll continue. The long ranges, again, picking up that stuff along the Gulf Coast. And we'll continue to add to those totals, especially there south of Louisiana. Look at this. It's like this all the way out. Again, some of that moisture coming back with that other disturbance, tropical disturbance, bringing some more heavy rain. So by the end of the 10 days, you're looking anywhere from 5 to 10 inches of rain there along the Gulf Coast from Louisiana and Texas. And again, this rains here in parts of Georgia and Alabama. This is much needed. Very dry conditions here, so a little bit better weather there expected as far as the drought conditions that have been kind of plaguing that part of the country here for a little while. All right, let's go ahead and talk temperatures. We're going to look at temperatures here for the next few days here. Let's go ahead and switch on over here to the European models here. We're going to be looking at daytime high temperatures here. Take you right through Sunday, okay? We're going to go 4 days. You can't remember anything beyond 4 days anyway, right? So this is this afternoon. We're going to have that frontal system that'll be kind of moving on down here to the south. That's what's going to be bringing in the cold air. But look how warm and hot it is out here in the west. High temperatures here into Thursday into the 100s. Once again, for a lot of the interior sections there. California here, you're looking at 108. I mean, just very, very hot temperatures here. 112. Here's 99 up near Spokane. Very, very warm indeed. Let's go ahead and step you through this again as we go through this weekend. Okay, so this is for your afternoon. Let's go into your let's go to Saturday. Saturday afternoon temperatures. Look at this. Wow, look at it. 63 in Chicago, 70 in Columbus, 66 in Buffalo. So very, very nice that that cool air is really going to be making its presence felt here as it's diving south, but very hot and steamy out here in the west. Again, heading in for this upcoming weekend. Wish I had better news for you guys out west, but it's going to change. This is going to take a little while, okay? And then as we go in throughout the day on your Sunday afternoon temperatures, look at that, 81 in Atlanta, 78 in Nashville. We got interior sections here across portions of New York, high temperatures only in the 50s. Of course, it'll be kind of gray with that lingering low. Look at these 40s up here in portions of Canada. That's going to be compliments to the fact that we're going to have that upper level low kind of just sitting right there. So it's going to be keeping it kind of cool there. But things are noticeably beginning to warm up out here in the middle of the country there, where the temperatures begin to rebound as we go into this upcoming weekend. All right, let's quickly look at we'll back this up and we'll take a look at your overnight low temperatures here for the next 4 days. We back this up as I switch this over to the minimums, and we'll switch this up. And we'll take a look at this one. Now let's look at your minimums here for this upcoming weekend. So as we go into your Friday morning, again, we're seeing temperatures up here in the high plains, not looking too bad. You're looking at temperatures, 50s and 40s and stuff, but that's going to significantly change. Watch as we go through this upcoming weekend. This is Friday. Let's go into Saturday morning here. Saturday morning, look at that 50s really starting to spread down into Missouri, into portions of Ohio. Still holding on to some warm weather here across the south in the 60s and 70s along the Gulf Coast, but very steamy out here in the southwest. Overnight lows only in the upper 80s. It's so hot out there. I'll tell you that. It's not a good place to be this time of year. That is for sure. All right, let's go ahead and take you into Sunday morning. Sunday morning's low temperatures here. Look at all the 40s. Wow, look at all this. A big swath of 40s here across the high plains, the Midwest, going into New England, looking very nice indeed. How about 47 there into Cincinnati, Ohio? 48 in Pittsburgh, 49 there in Chicago. Look, that's going to feel very, very good indeed. And we'll take this in one more day. Let's just do one more day on the overnight lows. We'll take it into Monday morning as well. Again, looking at a lot of 40s here across New England. But again, this is going to be short-lived. Things are going to warm up big time on the backside of that, and I can show you what I mean on that as we take a look at the latest climate outlook here, okay? All right, let's look at the climate outlook here as we're looking at below normal temperatures here in the southeast. Obviously, big warm up here in the plains. This is going from the 10th to the 14th. So this will be going away, warming up quite a bit here as we go beyond that to the 12th to the 18th. Most of the country looking pretty warm. We do beat back some of that above normal temperatures there across the northwest. So some relief's coming that way and into California as we finally get some systems moving in here. But basically, we're going to be hot and kind of on the dry side for a big portion of the country. I mean, look at this. I mean, just huge swath. No major storm systems in here. Does get active out here in the northwest. Stays active here along the Gulf Coast with this old stationary boundary and tropical moisture influence here from the 10th to the 14th. And that looks like that continues also into days 8 through 14. That's talking about the 12th through the 18th here. So drier, middle of the country, active west coast, active southeast as we go into this. And then obviously going past the 15th, we'll see what happens with the tropics. Do we get that flip-flop there and see if the Atlantic will turn on or not? Right now, the longest sustained period that we've seen there, not seeing tropical activity from, what was it, August the 21st up until now. And I don't see anything imminent here until maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I think that system off the East Coast will probably become Francine, although it'll be a short-lived one at that and probably won't become a tropical storm. No, don't see any major hurricanes out there, but things are going to change. And of course, if you want to stay up on the latest changes, you need to go ahead and subscribe to the channel right here. I want you on board here, be part of the Weather Nerds family. All you got to do is subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and we do appreciate your support here on the channel. All right, that's your update here for you Thursday. You guys be good, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next update. Until then, be good for now. Bye-bye.